yesterday we talked about euro dollar quite a lot. I don't have as much to say about the pound, but that's the feature for today. Cable, pound dollar, sterling. Sort of one of the key figures. This is our special feature for today. One of the original sort of currency pairs called cable. It was called cable, still called cable, because it was a cable telegraph between the United Kingdom and the United States, and prices were quoted over there. Some people call it the devil's currency because it's treacherous. It moves, it has wild moves. And next point here is indeed sharper movements in comparison to euro dollar. Sometimes we're seeing, euro dollar trade in a more limited range, and pound dollar trade in a wider range. You need always bigger wider stop loss points, wider take profit figures for for trading this currency pair. What I mentioned it all in many cases in the show. We have a special behavior around news releases. I don't know who has access or who doesn't, but UK releases are made at 8:30 GMT now with this, or 9:30 in the UK. And towards the release, we always see some kind of movement, some kind of rumors or leaks. Always looks suspicious. And in many cases, we have a buy the rumor, sell the fact behavior. Okay, we have pound moving higher on expectations, rumors, or even leaks. Someone has the inside data. I don't really know it, but we are seeing such big movements. And the pound is moving higher on expectations that will have more important, stronger than expected data. And then when the stronger than expected, good news does come out, we have buy the rumor, sell the fact, pound weakening. Sometimes when the data is so spectacular, we have an extension of the moves, but usually the movements before the publications are bigger than the movements afterwards. The same thing, of course, goes for when things go the other way around. When we're seeing the pound fall in the 20 to 30 minutes before that 9:30 UK time release, and then the figure is indeed worse than expected. Sometimes we have an extension. That extension is not as strong as the movement before the release. And sometimes it's just buy the rumor, sell the fact. That means pound dollar is actually moving up despite a weak figure. But the flip side of that is that in many cases, we have really significant moves, these erratic, chaotic moves around the release, 20 to 30 minutes before, 20 to 30 minutes after, and then things are ignored, no long-term impact, okay? Even if it's an important figure like services PMI, GDP, retail sales, a big movement around the event, and then it's sort of back to normal, okay? It's another reason perhaps for calling it the devil's currency. What's going on in cable recently? Recently, the biggest mover is politics, the should I stay or should I go? The Brexit debate, 22 days to go. No, 24, sorry. Anyway, this is clearly the big event. It has a bigger impact than the data. At the moment, and I believe at the event as well, nothing is fully priced in. We'll have a big reaction in any case, okay? I think that now chances are still for Remain, for the UK to stay in. And if we'll see that happening, I still see the pound going up even more. I don't see a buy the rumor, sell the fact, because it's such a monumental event. I think it'll be quite significant. Okay, but if we see, of course, a Brexit, the impact will be much bigger because it's even less priced in. So we'll see a collapse of 1,500 pips, I believe, in a matter of a few days. I don't think I'm exaggerating a lot. I'm not the only one that thinks that way, but it's a huge, huge event. Pound cable, I believe, will collapse a lot, but also the euro might fall quite a bit against other currencies, such as the dollar and the yen. Anyway, This is the special feature about cable, about the pound. So your question, comment, a lot of the cable market is traded by the Big Five, the UK clearing banks, and lots of allegations of their dealing desks ganging up to push cable. For all intents and purposes, a sort of FX cartel in cable market. Yeah, I don't have pure evidence of that, but London is the biggest financial center for Forex, at least. Of course, there's lots of competition for from New York, but there's, I mean, and there were of course allegations in the past, at least, for some kind of fixings in the foreign exchange market, fixings in LIBOR. So this ganging up you're mentioning is certainly makes sense. Okay, so that's it for a special segment about the British pound, about cables more specifically. Yeah, let's see more questions, comments, and then move to the wrap up for today. Yeah, good info. I agree, Siri. And yeah, if we talked about the pound, let's look at the 146.33, 146.50, some kind of resistance, support at 145.80. Question here by FXN. What are the Forex session opening and closing times GMT for London session and New York session? Well, depending on who you ask, but for now, I mean, it's 8 GMT 7 GMT. 8 in London when London opens, okay? That's 9 here in the old continent. It closes around 4 p.m. UK time, 5 in the old continent, okay? New York session around, that would be 12 GMT, and then it closes with the close of the US stock market, and that would be 10 my time, so it would be 8 p.m. GMT, okay? But you'll see movements going on before and after, of course, as well. It's not sort of a sudden halt. It's a slowdown, okay? It's not that markets are sort of fully closed. I mean, a big fall in liquidity. It's sort of more gradual, okay? Comment here from Ed. Germany is thinking of time zone change to match London so that Frankfurt might overtake London for markets trading in. London's market is more corrupt than Germany's. I don't see Germany. Yeah, I don't know about that news, but I only know that here in Spain there is an idea to go back to the London time. Portugal has already moved back to London, and that's how it was in the beginning of the 20th century. But changes in time zones are not that frequent. Okay. Okay. Let's do the wrap up for today. So this is the wrap up for the live market open for May 31st. End of month flows are set to dominate this Tuesday morning. But beforehand, let's talk about what we had so far. Yellen has pushed up the dollar on Friday, and her words still echo. Latest Brexit poll shows a tightening according to ORB, the Telegraph. So far, no big movements from the pound, but I believe it will have an impact. Of course, more polls are always coming through. The Japanese sales tax over the weekend, more talk about that. A delay in the sales tax hike, bad for the yen, good for dollar yen. And as I mentioned, end of month flows might be unfavorable for the dollar that did gain a lot in the month of May. Yesterday's figures did not rock the boat too much. This morning's figures, German retail sales missed with 0.9. But today it's quite a busy day. Just after the show, in a few minutes' time, we have German unemployment change. Another drop in unemployment is expected. Good news could support the euro. More importantly, at 9 GMT, Eurozone figures, somewhat a small improvement is expected in Eurozone inflation. Could put more color on the cheeks of Mario Draghi, but we can always have surprises there. Of course, we have the ECB meeting later this week. For those trading the Canadian dollar, we have the monthly GDP, and in this case, it's the month of March, so it's also the quarterly GDP, perhaps more important. We're expecting a weak March, but a generally stronger Q1. Okay, let's see how it moves the Canadian dollar. Of course, oil is also important. At the same time, 12:30 GMT, core PC price index from the United States. I know it's a mouthful, but it's the Fed's favorite inflation figure, and for me, a key figure for the June decision. Okay, the third in line, and we have 3 more to go after this one. At the same time, also personal spending, personal income. Of course, if figures all go in the same direction, it'll have a more meaningful impact on the dollar. At 2 GMT, CB consumer confidence, also an important release. In theory, impacts spending. We're expecting a small improvement here. And at night, a busy night for Australia. In a matter of minutes, we have Australian GDP at 1:30 GMT, and then the Caixin manufacturing PMI from China, an independent indicator about China's manufacturing sector, the most important one. Let's cover a few charts. Euro dollar, well, this morning we are seeing minor strength for the US dollar after yesterday's light weakness. 111.33 is the current level of support, strong support at 110.70, resistance at 112.50, strong resistance. The pound, to which we've dedicated a special segment today, currently 146.25, support 145.80, resistance, high resistance at 147.70. Dollar yen maintaining its gains above 111. 111.50 is resistance, 110.50 is support. Dollar CAD within the range, very stable at 130 to 130.80. The Australian dollar, contrary to many other currencies, we did have an upside move here. Reached resistance at 72.50, high resistance 73, 71.75, and 71.40 are support. And the Kiwi dollar also raising its head, 67.15 at the moment, high resistance 68.40, low support 66.70. Okay, that's the wrap up for today. I believe we'll have lots of action. So far, this is a slow wake up. I guess you UK traders, European traders in general, are not moving that fast. We have a few more questions before we go. So King Dollar has already tested its broken TL with few trend line with few people on the boat. COT data. Let's share it with everybody. This chart by Luca. Yeah, that's the FXCM dollar index, right? Not the DXY, the classic one. So we did break the long-term trend line here. I believe we still have more room to the upside. Higher chances of rate hike in July. All right. Yeah, and as you mentioned, the market is not heavily positioned in favor of the dollar, so short squeezes are not on the cards. Risk remains to the upside. Yeah, I agree. But we'll have to have positive figures today from the United States, and we'll have to have the mess clearing up after the end of month flows. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming, for the great questions. I wish everybody a safe and successful day in markets. I hope we'll have more volatility than in the past 24 hours. And that's it. So that's it, and see you tomorrow. Thank you, and bye-bye.